How's it going again? It's Leo Rothschild for flowchart number 3. This is Angiosperm reproduction, tracking the reproductive cycle of, in this case, the angiosperm is the cherry tree, our very own cherry tree at Phillips Academy, shown here on the left. So as you can see, there's also a bee, but we'll get to that later. So we're going to zoom in right here on the flower, and we see this mature flower of the cherry tree. As you can see, we have the ovary down here, which is the big shape, round shape, and then we have the stigma, the style, the filaments. But yeah, let's start in the filaments and the anther, which is this little bulb on top of the filament, which is the stem holding it up. That's going to be where the sperm, or the pollen grains, will be produced. The pollen grains are, as you can see noted here, haploid N. And that is where you might have the bee come in. You're going to have these haploid pollen grains being produced in the anthers. They may brush over it, boom, it actually could pollinate by putting the pollen grains onto the stigma, which is the first part of the female reproductive system in this cherry tree plant. So that pollen grain will travel down the stigma, or from the stigma down the style into the ovary, into the ovule, and it could fertilize the egg. But this could be double fertilization right here, because two things are happening. You're having the egg, which was right in here, as you can see right here, being fertilized by that pollen grain, and you also have, and that's going to be 2N, and you also have the 3N, the other part of fertilization, hence double fertilization, where you have the pollen grain fertilizing the other two polar nuclei, which will form the endosperm, the 3N endosperm. So now you have the 3N endosperm and the 2N embryo. Continuing on now, we have the development of the simple fruit. And this is in part because of the nourishment of the endosperm, the 3N endosperm, to the developing embryo, providing it with nutrients and support and food. So once it gets to the simple fruit, which is the cherry, where as you can see you have the seed on the inside and the fruit on the outside, it could be consumed by a consumer, like in this case we wrote Sawyer the dog. Now, of course, the cherry tree, Japanese cherry tree, actually, they're not edible, like the cherries, but we'll just say, for instance, if it were, a consumer could have it, or a bird could maybe carry it somewhere else, or it could just fall off. And essentially that seed can now germinate in the ground. You have germination, where it'll sort of have its roots dig into the ground, where it can eventually start the next generation of the cherry tree. So yeah, that's a fairly simplified version, where you have pollination, germination, and the new generation of cherry tree.